So your car's engine, it's kind of like its heart, right? And replacing it can feel, well, like you're about to perform a heart transplant. It sounds terrifying, I know, but it really doesn't have to be. We are going to break down absolutely everything you need to know, from that first weird noise to the moment you turn the key and it purrs back to life.
You know how it starts, right? It's that sound, the one that wasn't there yesterday. Or maybe it's a weird smell. Or the car just doesn't have that get up and go anymore. It's that sinking feeling in your stomach that says, uh-oh, something is really, really wrong. But how do you know if it's just a minor fix or, a total engine meltdown?
All right, so before we even start talking about replacements, we have to be 100% sure the patient is actually on the operating table. Let's dig into the classic telltale signs of major engine failure.
These are the big ones, the red flags you just can't ignore. Is your car suddenly drinking oil like there's no tomorrow? Are you leaving a James Bond-style smokescreen behind you? Or, and this is the big one, have you popped the oil cap and seen that milky, chocolate milk-looking gunk? Yeah, that's coolant mixing with your oil, and it's a killer. If a good mechanic confirms any of these, especially low compression, you're probably facing the big decision.
Okay, so you got the bad news. The mechanic gives you the look. It's not a simple fix. Your car's heart has given out. Now what? Well, now comes the really important part, because trust me, not all replacement engines are created equal. Not even close.
So when you're looking for a replacement, you're going to find three main flavors. The best way to think about it is like this. A used engine. That's for the gambler who's on a tight budget. A rebuilt engine is for the more careful shopper. And a remanufactured engine, that's for someone who wants this car to run for another 100,000 miles easy. Knowing the difference is going to save you a world of hurt.
First up, we've got the most straightforward option, a used engine. This is literally what it sounds like. It's an engine pulled straight from a donor car, probably at a salvage yard, and it's ready to be dropped into yours. It's almost always the cheapest way to go, but it's also the biggest roll of the dice because you often know next to nothing about its real history.
Now, taking it up a notch, you've got a rebuilt engine. With this, a mechanic takes a used engine, tears it down, cleans it up, and inspects everything. Anything that's totally busted or worn out gets replaced. But, and this is key, parts that are still considered serviceable get put right back in. It's a solid middle-of-the-road choice for cost and reliability.
And then there's the top shelf, the remanufactured engine. This is as close as you can possibly get to a brand spanking new engine from the factory. The whole thing is taken apart, and all the parts that wear out over time. We're talking pistons, rings, seals, and gaskets. They're all automatically tossed and replaced with brand new parts that meet or sometimes even beat the original factory specs.
And this is what that top-tier process actually looks like. I mean, just look at all those parts. We're not just talking about a quick cleanup. The engine block itself is measured, machined, and brought back to perfect condition. All those critical moving parts you see are either replaced or remachined to be as good as new. It is a full-on, no shortcuts overhaul.
Okay, so you've decided on the type of engine you want. Awesome. Now, where the heck do you actually go to get one? The marketplace for car hearts has changed a whole lot over the years.
You've basically got two main hunting grounds. You can go online, where suppliers have this massive nationwide inventory. That means you can find, and the competition keeps prices down. Or you can go old school and head to a local junkyard. The big win there? You can actually lay your eyes on the engine before you hand over any cash, and you don't have to worry about insane shipping fees. And speaking of junkyards, some of these places are just incredible. This quote from Jalopnik about a place called Old Car City really captures it. It's not just a pile of scrap metal. It's like an automotive museum where you might just find the perfect hidden gem waiting for a second chance.
This brings us right back to the single biggest, and I mean biggest, risk with buying a used engine. You can look at the outside all you want, but you can't see the wear and tear on the inside. And that mileage number scribbled on it in marker, it might not be the whole truth.
And here's why you have to be so careful. 450,000. Let that sink in for a second. That's how many vehicles the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration estimates are sold every year with odometers that have been illegally rolled back. That means the engine you're looking at could have way more mileage on it than you're being told. So how do you protect yourself? You gotta play detective. First, just do some simple math. The average person drives about 12,000 miles a year. Does the mileage on the engine make sense for the age of the car it came from? Look it over for wear. Ask if there are any maintenance records. And here's the pro tip. If you can get the vehicle identification number, or VIN, from the donor car, run a history report. It's your best shot at finding the truth.
All right,
You found an engine, you trust its history, now we got to talk about the part everyone dreads, the money. Because buying the engine itself is just the down payment. To figure out the true cost of this heart transplant, there are a few other big expenses you have to plan for.
First up, if you bought online, that engine isn't going to magically appear on your doorstep for free, and these things are heavy. Shipping a regular V6 or V8 another $300 to $800 to your total bill. And for a big diesel truck engine, you could be looking at over $1,000 just for shipping.
Okay, here is a classic gotcha that trips a lot of people up. The price you see listed for an engine is usually just for the engine itself, what mechanics call the long block. It almost never includes all the stuff bolted to the outside. Any good mechanic is going to tell you to replace parts like the water pump, the belts, and the hoses while the engine is out. So you got to add the cost of those parts to your budget.
You're also going to run into something called a core charge. Don't let the name scare you. The easiest way to think about it is like a bottle deposit. The company selling you the shiny, remanufactured engine wants your old, broken one back. Why? So they can rebuild it for the next person. You pay this deposit up front, and you get that money back once you ship them your old core.
And we're not talking about a couple of bucks here. A typical core deposit for a common engine can be anywhere from $500 to $1,200. That's a savage that will be tied up until you return your old engine, so you definitely have to factor that into your immediate costs.
We are in the home stretch. You've picked your engine, you've got the budget figured out, but there's one last hurdle, the paperwork, and making sure this whole thing is actually legal.
That's right. You can't just cram any old engine into your car. There are rules, and it almost always comes down to one thing: emissions. The golden rule, especially in states with strict standards, is that your replacement engine has to be from the same year as your car or newer, and you have to hook up all of its original emissions gear. No cheating, no bypassing. It all has to be there and working.
And look, when you're paying a shop to do this kind of major surgery, you have rights. Laws in pretty much every state guarantee you a few basic things. You get a written estimate before they start. They can't go over that estimate without calling you first. And when it's all done, you get a detailed bill and a copy of the warranty in writing. That paperwork is your safety net.
So, when you step back and look at the whole journey, from that first scary noise to picking the right new heart to navigating all the costs and the rules, it becomes pretty clear this is so much more than just a repair. When you do your homework and choose the right engine, you're not just swapping out a broken part, you're giving your car a whole new lease on life, a total rebirth.